What up, y'all? Welcome to Rolling the Bottom Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Moore. Hope you all are having a good time wherever you're at, whenever you're watching this. I'm currently filming this at 10:41 p.m. Monday night. But man, hope you were able to watch some NASCAR racing this past weekend at Las Vegas Motor Speedway Trucks Xfinty Cup, the full package. Josh Berry won the Cup race, first career Cup Series race. That's an incredible story. We'll get to it. A great battle in the Xfinity Series race. Justin Allgaier prevailed, won that one. And then Corey Heim had some mistakes in this race, but the most dominant truck, in my opinion, won the truck race in Corey Heim. We talk about the truck race to start off, get right into it. Corey Heim gets it done. Second, Grant Inkfinger. Third, Tanner Gray. Fourth, Ty Majeski. Fifth, Lane Riggs. Sixth, Stuart Friesen. Seventh, Rod Jack Ruth. 8th, Chandler Smith. 9th, Matt Craffen. And 10th, Tyler Ingram. Tyler Ingram led the second most laps, 39 laps. Corey Heim led the most laps. There was 2 rain delays in this race. This race started at 9 p.m. Eastern, so I ended up falling asleep with the final 30 laps of this race. Kind of embarrassing, but I guess it just tells you how this race was very low-key. It was very uneventful. Corey Heim, starting 16th, got up to 4th at the end of stage 1, and had a speeding penalty during pit stop, starting in the back, and still got back up to 4th again in stage 2, and then kept his track position, no mistakes, and then just kind of stayed up front. It was a great battle with a bunch of different trucks. I mean, Ty Majeski was up there. I think Lane Riggs was up there. We saw Chandler Smith up there. But it was no match for Corey Heim. He kept his track position. I think he made a pass on, I don't know, I think it was Lane Riggs or something like that. I'm trying to think who it exactly was. I can't remember. It was on Friday. But then, right when that happened, I went back and made sure nothing happened, and I fell asleep on the couch. But this race was, chill. Not you usually expect the truck races to be a lot more crazy and just wreck-festy, but it wasn't. It was a clean race. I'm trying to think. Roger Ruth, who won this race last year, finished 7th. Lane Riggs, both, I guess. Yeah, Lane Riggs was 5th. Chandler Smith, 8th. 2 top 8 finishes for Front Row Motorsports. Corey Day, who was on the pole for his first Truck Series race, well, he got a pole. He got his first pole in the Truck Series. He got his first pole in the Truck Series ever, so that's really cool. Corey Day is a guy that has Urban Motorsports signed to a development deal to race in multiple series, ARCA, Trucks, Xfinity, lots of different series. Kyle Larson has high praise for him. Corey Day's background is dirt racing. Corey Day finished 3rd in stage 1, and then 10th in stage 2, and then I think he had an issue. I do not know what the issue was. That's why he finished, I believe, 27th, because he was not in an accident. But yeah, that was really the truck race. I mean, there was not really much to it. Pretty chill race, which is fine. I mean, sometimes these truck races can get pretty chaos and look like a clown show, so it's nice to see a straightforward, best truck won type race on a good old Friday night in the Truck Series. I actually am really excited for next week when Kyle Larson is racing. I believe he's racing in an Aspire truck. I think it's the same truck Corey Day is racing in at Homestead Miami Speedway. That is going to be fun too. I can't wait for that. Now, the Xfinity Series race, kind of highlighted it, but the battle between Eric Almirola, that was just fun. I mean, it was a battle all day. I thought we were going to see a good side-by-side battle for the win, but Eric reeled in Justin Allgaier there for the final couple laps, but then was never able to get side-by-side for Justin Allgaier. Justin Allgaier prevails. Great rebound. Justin Allgaier was leading the Phoenix race last week with 4 laps to go, and the caution came out, had a bad restart, lost his chance to win that race. Great for him. Easily the best car in my opinion. He was a rocket ship, dude. When he was out front, he was out front. Like I said, led 102 laps. Eric Almirola finished in 2nd, led 51. 3rd was Jesse Love. 4th, Austin Hill. 5th, Sam Mayer. 6th, Brandon Jones. 7th, Ryan Sieg. 8th, Harrison Burton. 9th, Connor Zilch. 10th, Sheldon Creed. Connor Zilch finishing 9th. He led 28 laps. Connor Zilch was probably the 3rd best car, at least the 3rd most competitive car On the final pit stop of the day, it was a green flag pit stop. He sped on pit road. He went a couple laps down, or at least a lap down or something that cost him a chance to compete for the win. And that's a rookie mistake. And luckily, it's earlier in the season, so hopefully he can learn from it and not have it affect him later when these races are way more important and those speeding penalties are going to hurt you even more. And the one thing I'll say is that Connor Zilch, if you don't know, he's being hyped up as the next big thing. He's 18 years old, very young. I feel like it's nice that he is taking accountability, too, for a lot of this stuff. I mean, he's very mature. He says, he really just calls himself out that he can't make these mistakes. When he runs into people, he apologizes and says it's his fault. I like that because he's already being labeled as going to be going Cup Series racing next year, replacing Daniel Suarez because people, Daniel hasn't been running that great. Daniel won one race last year in Atlanta in the beginning of the season and, hasn't won one since. So a lot of pressure's on Daniel because I guess the hot seat's up. The seat, he's on the hot seat for Connor Zilch. That's what everyone's thinking, but really the only people that really know about that are the only people that actually know the full of what's going to be going on for Trackhouse in the future is really Justin Marks and the owner, who is the owner of Trackhouse. But no, overall, I really enjoy the maturity of Connor Zilch finishing ninth. But yeah, it would have been fun to see if he got up there. That could have been a great 3-car battle. But 2 top 5s for RCR. Harrison Burton, top 10 for A&M Racing. Kyle Sieg, he finished 11th. Kyle Sieg is the brother of Ryan Sieg. Ryan Sieg Racing, he races for. Ryan Sieg is who's in the 39, who finished 7th. He's usually a guy who runs in the top 10. Kyle is usually a guy who runs outside of top 15. And outside of top 10, and sometimes outside of top 20. But for him to have this type of run, really impressive. I didn't think Kyle Sieg really had it. But also I think his equipment was not really up to par. So who knows? I believe Ryan Sieg Racing has an alliance with Haas Factory Team, and I think that's really paying off. And I don't know if they're getting more support from Ford as well, but it's great to see those two guys running well. That's a great thing to see. The one big race, or not really one big race, but the big wreck from this race was on lap 1 when William Sawalch just lost it. The air got taken away from him on the first lap. He smacked the rear of his car into the outside wall in turn 2, ended his day. Parker Retzlaff was also involved, but his day was not over. Parker Retzlaff finished 21st, so a nice little rebound. Sammy Smith finished 14th. He was on the pole for this race, only led 13 laps, was not really able to control the race long enough. So he didn't really have the best race pace car. Again, a good qualifying car, but not race pace. But that's really all I can see. Nothing else really jumps out to me right now. There's probably going to be something that I'm going to be pissed about that I didn't say in the Xfinity Series race. But overall, I thought it was a really fun race from start to finish. Was very much intrigued and very much invested in this one. But yeah, that was the Xfinity Series race. Can't wait again because Kyle Larson will be in the Xfinity Series. Kyle Larson's going to be in the Xfinity Series race next week at Homestead as well. Kyle Larson's going to be running triple duty. Trucks, Xfinity, and Cup. Can't wait for that. But now the Cup race, which you're all probably wanting me to talk about. Josh Berry gets it done like I talked about beginning of the show. Some people are saying it's a shock. It's surprising. Who would have thought? I mean, I believed in Josh Berry's talent. I didn't know anything about Josh Berry until 2020 during COVID. Look, the 21 car they have an affiliate alliance with Team Penske. So they have the parts and pieces. The people that are working on that 21 are, the fourth string guys for Team Penske. Guys that are hopefully one day will work for Team Penske on those 3 main teams. So Team Penske gives Wood Brothers a lot of support. But look, man, I think the past couple of years, Harrison Burton was in the 21. He gave us this sense or this view that the 21 wasn't that good. It wasn't that competitive, right? There was always a excuse, I guess, for I guess there was an excuse that it's just a single car team owned by Wood Brothers. Well, then guess what? When they win, it's because they were with Team Penske. So this win is just, to me, it is surprising. Now it has to be surprising for me because I didn't even pick him in the playoffs. I thought he was going to run well. I just didn't think he was going to run this well this early. I mean, I think he finished like top 5 in Phoenix. He was running competitively in the Daytona 500 and the Atlanta race. I'm not sure where he finished in Coda. And then here he is. The strategy worked out. Had a great battle between him and Daniel Schwartz for the win. Whoever got the lead there was going to probably win that race. And it all worked out. I think he led the final 10 laps on this race. But Josh Berry's story, man. He started off racing late models for Dale Earnhardt Jr. because Dale Earnhardt Jr. I think gave him a call because he was a really good iRacer. iRacer is a simulation racing series or game. And I think he raced in late models for like 10 years. I think that's all Josh was planning to do. He was a bank teller before that. He went to the same school as Taylor Swift. Well, he was so good in late models that Junior Motorsports gave out a couple opportunities in the Xfinty Series to run part-time. One at Martinsville in a part-time start. And then he got a full-time opportunity in 2022 and 2023. I think he ran part-time for 2020 and 2021. And he made the most of those 2 full-time seasons with Junior Motorsports. He won, I think, 2 races in those 2 years there. One at Martinsville, one at Las Vegas, where he just won the day. And then in 2023, he got an opportunity to race Cup Series racing when Chase Elliott got hurt and injured because he was snowboarding. And in his first race was at Las Vegas. He finished 29th. Felt terrible. Well, he got more opportunities from Hendrick Motorsports. And I think his best finish in that 9 car was second at Richmond. So he got opportunities, then more opportunities off that, where he got a full-time opportunity in 2024 to race for Stewart-Haas Racing in the 4 car, pretty much just taking over Kevin Harvick's ride when Kevin Harvick retired in 2023. And I think he made the most of it because he was paired up with Ronnie Childress, one of the best crew chiefs in the garage, still to this day. He led some laps, was, I think, some pretty competitive, but Stewart-Haas was on the decline. They were shutting down after last year. They're no longer a team anymore. It's now a Haas factory team. So he needed an opportunity to be with a more established team, and he got that. Halfway through 2024, Wood Brothers Racing announced that they were going to be getting rid of, or I guess firing, Harrison Burton after the 2024 season, and Josh Berry was going to be taking over this car. I think Mike Stanley was going to be the crew chief. I know his last name was Stanley for this season. And I got to say, right off the bat, like we talked about, competitive at Daytona, competitive in Atlanta. I'm not sure where he raced at Coda. Top 5 at Phoenix last week and a win here. I didn't expect him to win. But like I said, the strategy worked out. I just think it's just incredible, guys. Josh Berry is 34 years old. He's 34. Right now, the people that are coming to the Cup Series are really young. I mean, Ty Gibbs, I think, was 20 when his first full-time season. You're seeing Kyle Zilch, who's 18, being talked about to go Cup Series racing full-time next year. These guys are going to be becoming younger and younger. Well, Josh Berry is one of the true guys that just worked his butt off for so many years to then finally get an opportunity like this to race in the big bad boy Cup Series, the big leagues of stock car racing. And to see see success like this, him winning a Cup Series race, you know how hard it is to win the Cup Series? Amazing, man. Amazing. It's so cool, dude. It's so cool to see. I mean, it's like the most, like that right there, that is the American dream right there. It's beautiful to see. Oh, yeah. That's some good, tasty water right there. That was weird to say that. But, Cup Series race, we'll talk about. We'll look at our top 10. Josh Berry first, led 18 laps, only 18 laps. Daniel Suarez led 12 laps, finishing second. Third, Ryan Preece. I mean, let's just talk about it. We'll probably forget about it. Excuse me. I want to make sure I talk about Ryan Preece. All this hate towards him, that he doesn't have it. He don't have it. He don't have it. He can't you can't do this, can't do that. Doesn't have the talent. All these opportunities, and this is a great run for him. A great statement run for him to run third. Just awesome to see. Fourth, William Byron, a guy who I think, in my opinion, was the second best Hendrick car all day. Was right behind Larson, led 10 laps. Fifth, Ross Chastain, led 14 laps. Sixth, Austin Cindric, winner of stage 1. He led 47 laps. So a great day for him. Great finish for him. Solid day. Alex Bowman, 7th. He led, how many laps did Alex Bowman leave? Alex Bowman led 2 laps. And then Kyle Larson, 9th. How many laps did he lead? If I could just, I gotta make sure I don't lose my track. Okay, yeah. He led 61 laps. The most laps led in this race. And then 10th, Chase Elliott, who I believe led no laps. Also, Joey Logano, who's down in 15th. He led 40 laps. But this race also, where else we got here? Oh, Bubba Wallace led 20 laps. Tyler Ent led 34 laps. A lot of drivers led a big chunk of laps today. But this race, guys, so many penalties from, the 19 car of Chase Briscoe had a loose wheel. Kyle Busch had a loose wheel. He wrecked out on a restart. I think Alex Bowman had a vibration, came down pit road. Denny Hamlin was speeding on pit road. Carson Hocevar had a bad pit stop. He got clipped by Ty Gibbs, spun out in pit road. Oh my gosh, guys. So much. I think Christopher Bell, who won 3 races, had a loose wheel during the pit stop. Well, then I guess the team called it out enough and told the 19 team that the 20 car was going to come down their pit stop, and the 19 car tightened up the 20 car's wheel. That was wild. That was a penalty, though, too, technically, because he was pinning outside the box. But luckily, the 20 car team does not lose any pit crew members because of that. But there's going to be a lot of penalties this week because of loose wheels. And I do think it's funny. I do want to bring this up. You would think that one massive lug nut would be a lot easier than, I think it would be 5 lug nuts. Yeah, 5 lug nuts. But it seems like because of how competitive pit stops are now, it's like every team is trying to get, like, they don't want to lose, and they don't want to give up any time. It's like, you got to be on it. It's like right when that jack gets up, it's like, bang, hit it hard, bang. Get the lug nut in, and then jack down, other side, and it's just quick. So I think they go so quick that, and so precise that if you don't have it in right when you have to have it in, you most likely have a loose wheel. And the way the lug nut is, it's like, it has this little clip. I don't know I can't explain it though. It's this massive lug nut. It goes in there, and there's this button. Like if you would push it down, it would go in. So the lug nut has to go over this little button thing. Once it goes over this button thing, then it locks it in there. If it goes over top, not fully, it doesn't lock in the nut. So there's this little thing that pops up. So the lug nut, when it goes in, this thing comes down, and then once the lug nut's in, this little thing pops back up, so then it locks it in. So sometimes what they'll have is when the lug nut goes in, they don't fully get fully in past this little thing that pops up. So that's where you can get your loose wheels, because the lug nut is not fully it's not fully past the locking mechanism. That was probably a little confusing. If the people that are on YouTube are probably able to maybe understand what I'm talking about, but the people listening, it's probably a little confusing. So yeah, a lot of penalties and mistakes. Ryan Blaney, in the first 30 laps, they had green flag pit stops. He spent on pit road. Yeah, just so much. And I feel like I'm going to miss something I should have said, but yeah, just a lot of penalties. And that's where I felt like it just flipped around the strategy. We had I think it was a new right side tire. It was either a new right side or left side tire, and that tire wear, I think, actually made a difference. We saw a strategy where guys took 2 tires at the end of stage 2. It was like, I don't know, Denny Hamlin, Daniel Suarez, I think Ross Chastain, and they all kind of fell back and lost spots, but I think it all paid off. I think they were all running outside the top 20 at the time. But at least tires mattered, That was really fun to see. We saw like 3x3 racing. Restarts were insane. So overall, I thought this race was really, really good. I think, in my opinion, it was the best natural race. The super speedway racing, that's all manufacturing because of the aero package. I think this was the best race of the season so far just because of how everything was, how natural everything was, the stinks. There was so much drama, so much going on. And I thought Kyle Larson was the best car. But there was a weird strategy there. We had a caution there with Cody Ware. He spun out, hit the wall hard. This was on lap 189. I believe at that time Larson was leading. And they had that right there. That was right around the fuel window where if you pit, you might be able to make it. And they chose to pit. They lost a lot of their track position. I think it was Larson and Byron. And they started in the back. And then right around that time, that's when we had, on that restart, we had a big wreck with Blaney involved. And Blaney, I thought, was the third best car. I think if he got to the front, he would have been a force to reckon with. But they were going 4 wide. It was Bell down below the white line, then Blaney, then Noah Gragson, and then Bubba Wallace. And it looked like Bell was came up, and then Blaney kept coming up, and Blaney was a little bit ahead of all 4 of them, and Blaney turned himself in the wall. A couple of cars got involved. How many cars were involved? It was Blaney, the 43 of Eric Jones, the 4 of Noah Gragson, the 3 of Austin Dillon, the 23 of Bubba Wallace, the 47 of Ricky Stenhouse, and the 16 of AJ Allmendinger. I believe the only one that was out from that race was the 12, and I believe the 43. Was it the 43 that got involved? I guess it was the 43. Yeah, the 43. I'm trying to see here who. No, I'm wrong one. And let me see here. I clicked the Xfinty Series finishing order, the Cup Series finishing order. Yeah, I think Ryan Blaney was the only one that actually his day was ended from that. Eric Jones, I think, finished at 27 still. I guess Bubba Wallace finished 28th though. So yeah, I think yeah, a lot of guys I think that were involved in that wreck ruined and pretty much ended our day for a good day. Todd Gillen, I think, hit the wall. Noah Gragson, I think, blew a tire, hit the wall. Carson Hocevar had damage. I think was also involved in an accident there. And then Austin Dillon was involved. Kyle Busch, we talked about. Had a loose wheel, wrecked during a restart. SVG had a bunch of blown tires, and I don't know what was going on with that car. I think there was one blown tire where he spun out, that was a caution, and then another blown tire where it wasn't a caution. But back to the race, I'm going to hopefully explain this the best I can. But like I said, Cody Ware, he crashes. At least I know Larson and Byron, they pit, they lose their track position. A bunch of cars like Tyler Reddick, Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano, they all stay out, and they kind of they're kind of now in the top dog spot in a way. They're in top 5. Reddick then ends up leading, I think, the next 4, I guess I'm trying to think here. Reddick ends up leading the next 34 laps. And pretty much there, we're hoping for a caution with 15 to 20 laps into that run. Because then it would have pinned Byron and Larson back to when everyone had a pit, and they would have kept their track position with fresh new tires, and they wouldn't have, because it was looking like this race was going to turn into a fuel mileage race. Because I don't think actually Larson and Williams were going to be able to make it. They were going to probably end up accumulating to the lead because they were fast enough, but when they're going to be able to stretch it on fuel, because I think Cliff Daniels was telling Kyle Larson to save hard. Well, what ended up happening then is, Reddick, Hamlin, they all pit. Logano takes the lead, and then we had a caution, and that ended up costing Reddick and at least Hamlin. They were already a couple laps down because they had to pit under green. They ended up losing. Their strategy didn't work out there, where they were hoping that what would have happened, I guess, is pretty much guys would have ran out during that time, or they got a caution when they were up front. So then their strategies really worked out. And I thought this was going to benefit. Joey Logano took the lead when those guys pit and a couple others, when Reddick and Denny Hamlin pitted and a couple others. And then everyone pits down, everyone goes down pit road and pits, and Joey Logano has a terribly slow pit stop, and then it leads to Daniel Suarez winning the battle of pit road, takes the lead, and then Barry is second, and then we just see that great battle between Barry and Daniel Suarez for the win. And I mean, gosh, guys, it was so fun to watch. Barry, I think, was just a better car. I think really no one was trying to give up a spot. We saw Byron get up to fourth there. I thought Byron, he got past Larson somehow in that restart, during that restart. And I thought if Byron was able to get up there, he would have been if Byron was able to get up to like third, I think he would have had a chance. But Ross Chastain raced the crap out of Byron there and never allowed Byron to get around him. And it was just a battle. Once Barry got around Suarez tried, just didn't have the handling of the car, and then Barry finished off the last, I think, 10 laps to win his first Cup Series career. His first Cup Series career race, man. Gosh, guys, it was just, it was amazing, guys. It's a great story, and now I'm going to be really intrigued. How many more races can Josh Berry win? I think I was already expecting him to be really competitive in the short tracks, because that's kind of his background. I think Martinsville is a place he can be really good at. I think Richmond and New Hampshire, these flatter tracks. He finished top 5 at Phoenix, which is like a mile-long track and flat. So I'm going to be excited. Also, Bristol, that's a higher bank short track. There's a lot of good races or good tracks coming up for Josh Berry. But yeah, just crazy the way this race was, where you thought it was going to be a Hendrick Motorsports day. I did want to bring this up quick. Christopher Bell finished 12th. His win streak of 3 races comes to an end. Joga's Racing, I thought I was about to forget this, but Joga's Racing had a terrible stage 1. I believe Christopher Bell finished 11th on the lead lap, and then Ty Gibbs finished 32nd, 1 lap down, and then Denny Hamlin finished 35th, 1 lap down, and then Chase Briscoe finished 36th, 3 laps down, all because of mistakes and penalties from Hamlin and Chase Briscoe. But Ty Gibbs got lapped on just overall speed, man. Ty Gibbs, I'm very worried about Ty Gibbs just because I'm worried that he's going to be getting a lot of hate from fans if he continues to not perform, because he's struggling right now. I don't think I have to worry about him losing a ride because of his name. He'll be around that organization for a long time, but I think he's going to have a bad view if he doesn't start to perform. So hopefully he can, swing it around or something, man. But yeah, really just wasn't really a good day for, I guess you could say, Joga's Racing as a whole. I mean, Ty Gibbs, finished 22nd. Denny Hamlin finished 25th. I'm trying to think here. Where did Chase Briscoe finish? Chase Briscoe finished 17th, and then Christopher Bell 12th. So yeah, no JGR cars in the top 10. So yeah, it was a really bad day for them. But yeah, that was really a notable thing. But yeah, overall, awesome story for Josh Berry. But yeah, overall, this Las Vegas race, I've already said it in this podcast, was a fun, very enjoyable race. All right, now we go into our fan questions to end the show. Starting off with Tim. I'm calling you Tim. Thoughts on the top 5 yesterday? Let me go back to my notes to make sure who was in the top 5. Oh, hang on, wrong way. Well, wrong. Hang on, let me find it. All right, here we go. Just stay with me here, guys. All right. Yeah, Josh Berry for 2nd, Daniel Suarez 3rd, Ryan Preece 4th, William Byron in 5th, Ross Chastain. I mean, look, we talked about Josh Berry. What a story. What a win. Early in the season, no one thought it was going to come this early. No one thought he was going to win a race. Daniel Suarez, a guy who was on the hot seat, a lot of people would say, fighting for a job to stay in that car, fighting for his future, right? Finishing 2nd, was trying so hard to get that win, but still a good finish. 3rd, Ryan Preece, a guy who gets so much hate for, all these opportunities, but no good results, to come out 3rd. That's got to feel good for him. 4th, William Byron, a guy who probably could have won this race. I think 4th is great, but to him, he wants to win. So I think there's some disappointment for him for sure. And then Ross Chastain 5th, a guy who did some risky strategy, staying out on 2 tires at the end of stage 2 for 5th place. I don't think he can be mad about how his day went. So overall, it's a lot of diversity in that top 5 when it comes to, where drivers, have been from last year to this year, what the future could look like for some of these drivers. But overall, top 5, impressive. There's some impressive runs in that top 5 from Josh Berry to Ryan Preece, Daniel Suarez. And then there's, I guess, some finishes that you expect in William Byron. Yeah. So that's my thoughts on that top 5. That was kind of a really weird answer for a simple question. But I appreciate the question. Then, P_Philly 716. What did you think of the different shades of yellow on Joey's car? I kind of like it. It's a different, I think it's kind of the same scheme, but you have like a lighter shade of yellow and then a darker shade. It was one of my honorable mentions. It just wasn't the top 5 because there was a lot of other good ones. This is from, who is this from? I'm trying to think. Is this from, I'm going to call you Still. This is from Still. Thoughts on tires yesterday? ? Tire popping, tire falling off, ... tires falling off. Yeah, man. I mean, mistakes from pit crew guys, not getting that lug nut tight, costing a lot of drivers like a Kyle Busch a good day. Chase Briscoe, costing him a good day. Could have cost Christopher Bell an even worse day. But yeah, I mean, tire wear, I don't know what it was. I think it was just the way these cars were set up. Like SVG had like 2 flat tires. One he spun out, one he was able to get down the pit road. I think, I believe, Cody Ware might have a flat tire. I'm trying to think. I think Ty Gillen had a flat tire. I think Noah Gragson had a flat tire. Brian Blade blew a tire in practice. There was a lot of tires flattened. And also, they run the air pressure so low that I think that's also a factor in why these tires could flatten or pop or blow out. I don't really know too much about it, why the reasoning. I don't think it's a good, it could be a Goodyear issue, but I just hope with this whole tire stuff, as Goodyear hopefully gets more aggressive and continues to get more aggressive, softer tires, that when things maybe that are unusual happen, that no one rips Goodyear, because this is what we want. We want aggressiveness from Goodyear, and I think so far, this tire at Las Vegas to me I thought was really good, and then the one we saw last week was good. So keep it up, Goodyear. And then the final question: if you weren't a Brad Keselowski, who would you also root for? So I assume you're asking me if I wasn't a Brad Keselowski fan. This is from So_Cal192. Man. I mean, when I was a kid, I was a big Carl Edwards fan, actually. Like, he was a guy, my dad rooted for him, because we were supposed to be Ford fans. I think if I wasn't a fan of Brad, and I'd say I had to find a new driver today, I'd probably pick Denny Hamlin. I just love his personality. He's great for the sport. Even though, he's not a Ford guy, and I'm supposed to pick Fords, and I still drive a Ford, I would just love Denny Hamlin, the personality. I think he's great for the sport, so I'd probably pick Denny Hamlin to root for. Well, guys, that is a wrap for today's podcast. Hope you enjoyed. Talked about a lot. Hopefully, whatever I said made sense to you. I always love if you want to put your feedback in any way. DM me on the Rolling Bob. I love answering iMessages or DM messages. I always look at that to see if anyone texted me about anything, really. So if you give me some feedback about the podcast, if you're watching this on YouTube, comment down below. On Apple or any other podcast platform, please let me know. I enjoyed it. Can't wait for a homestead. It's going to be fun. Besides that, whenever you're watching this or wherever you are, hope life is good for you. God bless. Goodbye.